It is the Ravens Rundown. Tyler Jones, the hostess with the mostest, here with you. So glad to have you with us. We are talking about trade targets at the wide receiver position for the Ravens. And I know what you're thinking. Well, the Ravens didn't use wide receivers much the last couple of years. Well, there's going to be a new offensive system coming into place. And if you've looked at this Ravens wide receiving core, you would know that they need some help. So we're going to dive in and look at some potential options to help out Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense. Before we get to all of that in one moment, I got a question for you. Your turn to be the GM here on the Rundown. Name a wide receiver the Ravens should add this offseason. Give me one name that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be a trade candidate. Could be somebody in free agency or in the draft. Who would you like to see in a Ravens uniform in 2023? Let me know in the comments section. We'll get started with today's show. Wide receiver trade targets for the Baltimore Ravens. I have four names that come to mind that I'm looking at for this Ravens team that intrigue me for potential trade options. And I like all four of these players for different reasons. And I'll explain why, what I like about all four of these guys here in just a second. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to start at 4, and then we're going to work our way all the way up to 1, power rank the trade targets for Baltimore. Let's start at number 4, Brandin Cooks. Brandin Cooks of the Houston Texans. And Brandin Cooks, this is a guy that you look throughout his career, the thing that stands out to me the most, although he hasn't won a whole lot of awards or anything like that, is that he has been consistent throughout his career. That Brandin Cooks has made every single team he's been on better. That we have seen that teams, their offenses, have taken another step up when they've gotten Brandin Cooks involved in their offensive system, quite frankly. I like what Brandin Cooks brings to the table and what he's done throughout his career. You look at it, he's had 6 seasons with over 1,000 yards. He's played for New Orleans. He's played for New England, played for the Rams, played with a number of different quarterbacks, and it hasn't mattered. He's been successful with all of them throughout his career. And I can't imagine that his trade cost would be that much. Just 2020, he was traded to Houston, and all they had to give up was a 4th-round pick to bring him in. So his trade value's obviously gone down since then. He's an older player now. I don't think you necessarily have to give up that much for a guy that's had a pretty good career and could be an instant impact for this Ravens offense. So you tell me, our pin comment today, are you trading for Brandin Cooks? If you get the opportunity to make the call to bring Brandin Cooks to Baltimore, would you do it? If you would, type T for trade. If not, type P for pass. Do you want to see Brandin Cooks with the Baltimore Ravens? Let me know in the comment section. T for trade, P for pass. Number 3 on our list is a former teammate of Brandin Cooks, actually with the LA Rams. That's Robert Woods, who is on our list next. And the thing that I think is the most appealing when I look at Robert Woods is the potential bargain buy, the bang for your buck of some sorts. Woods, among all these trade candidates, actually might have the cheapest cost of all of them that are available here. As recently he was traded to the Tennessee Titans, and what we saw from when he went to Tennessee, a situation where they only had to give up a 6th-round pick. That was it. Won the Super Bowl with the Rams, was injured for most of that Super Bowl run, but we saw him in Buffalo and Los Angeles. But the one thing I would say about Robert Woods that would make me hesitant, and I think what would make Ravens fans kind of feel the same way, is that we've seen him deal with the injuries here the last few years, that he has been banged up. This Ravens team, as you well know, has, through the last 2 seasons, been banged up so much. Do you want to bring in another player to kind of add to the problems you've already dealt with? We know he's a good player. We know he wouldn't cost that much. But is he going to be healthy? That remains to be seen. So that would be the one thing holding you back as far as Robert Woods goes. Trade for Robert Woods. What do you think? You like the idea of bringing Robert to Baltimore? If you do, type Y for yes. If not, type in for no. Let me know in the comments section. You want to see Robert Woods in Baltimore? Y for yes, and for no, let me know in the comments section below. Today's show is presented by BetUS, the exclusive sportsbook partner of Chat Sports. If you go to chatsports.com/bet and enter the promo code CHAT125, you'll get a 125% deposit bonus. Put $100 down, you get $125 to spend for free. You can bet on the AFC and the NFC championship games coming up this weekend, some NBA, some college basketball, whatever you're feeling, you can get your bets in right now at chatsports.com/bet. Promo code CHAT125 at checkout. Sign up today. You'll be glad you did. chatsports.com/bet. Number 2 on our list is Michael Thomas. And Michael Thomas has been fantastic throughout his NFL career to this point. And, you know, I think of Michael Thomas because I remember his days back at Ohio State when he was a dynamic player there. And he's not as old as maybe you would think he is. And the talent is not the issue when it comes to Michael Thomas. We know that when Michael Thomas is healthy that he is an explosive receiver and a game breaker, a game-changing player. But the problem with him, just like what we talked about with Robert Woods, is the health concern factor. Look, it wasn't too long ago, 2019, he was the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler as recently as 2019. Broke the NFL record for most receptions in the season. Bang! I mean, just a lot of great things you can say about Michael Thomas and what he's done in his career. But we just haven't seen a whole lot of him as of late. So that would be the concern when it comes to Michael Thomas, is that you know he's a talented player, but can you expect him to be available and be dependable for this Ravens team? I don't know, quite frankly. And the Saints, you know, they've had aspirations. They thought last year that they were going to contend in the NFC. I say last year, as in this season. And I think they were hoping that Michael Thomas was going to come back and play a role of some sorts, and he was just basically on a milk carton. You know, he was missing, wasn't around. And so Michael Thomas, you'd love to have him in Baltimore, but you wonder if he's going to actually be available or not, how much you can depend on him. The talent's there. That's not the issue. The health concern is, though, for Michael Thomas. Don't miss out on daily news and rumors segments about your Baltimore Ravens here on the channels. We're talking trades, free agency, NFL draft, and more. We got some exciting stuff lined up, as in the next few weeks, we're going to be starting a live show here on the channel, which will be pretty cool. And we're going to be the place that if you love your Baltimore Ravens, you got to be subscribed. You'll want to be here for the latest happenings on your favorite team. We'll cover it all here on the channel. Be a part of this movement as we get close to 9,000 subscribers. You'll be glad you did. All the flock. If you're a real Ravens fan, you're subscribed. That's how it works. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/RavensTV. Numero uno on our list of trade targets for the Ravens is the obvious, DeAndre Hopkins. We have talked about DeAndre Hopkins a lot over the last few weeks, and we'll continue to do so. I think every major site out there has talked about DeAndre Hopkins of being a fit for the Baltimore Ravens, being a logical fit of some sorts. But the thing with DeAndre Hopkins is that there's other factors involved here of, you know, the Ravens only have 5 draft picks this upcoming draft. So how much can you really give up potentially for DeAndre Hopkins? And then you also look at the salary that he is going to command. Can you make that work when you're already kind of in, you know, some cap hell of some sorts? So those things hold back potentially of a deal being done. Look, when you look at potential trade options this offseason, I mean, it starts with DeAndre Hopkins, right? He is the best guy there. But all those variables that were involved here, besides just where Arizona's at, and we don't know who their new GM and head coach and all that is going to be at this point yet. Still got to figure all that out there. So with that said, I know they're rebuilding over there in Arizona, but I would love to have him here, but there's a ways to go in this process to get this deal done. There's still more hurdles to get through before this could potentially be reached. The resume speaks for itself. D-Hop, 3-time All-Pro selection as recently as 2019. Holds 3 franchise records for the Houston Texans. Dynamic player, DeAndre Hopkins is. This is not an issue about talent. It's just if you can put a deal together or not. That remains to be seen. So, quick question before we go as we're wrapping up here on the rundown today. Let's make you choose DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Thomas. And I know, some people will ask you a question. Well, let's say if all things were equal. No. I'm not doing the all things are equal type thing. I want to know directly, with everything that we know about both these guys and the trade assets it would take for either one, what player would you rather have at this point in time? What trade would you rather make? DeAndre Hopkins or Michael Thomas? D-Hop probably going to cost more than Michael Thomas, quite frankly. What do you think? DH for DeAndre Hopkins, MT for Michael Thomas. Let me know in the comments section. Follow me on social media at Tyler Jones Live. Look for that verified check mark on Twitter, and I'll see you next time right here on the Ravens Rundown. Thanks for joining us.